All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the This Is Your Moment podcast. My name is Colton Daly. I am your host. And today we've got another awesome guest, Kody Thompson, in the building. Known Kody for a few years now. We've had the opportunity to share some life together, meet up almost every week, be a part of a mastermind group, whether it's a mastermind on just sharing business ideas and spreading some good love in the business world, or hosting and co-leading a Bible study, getting into some theology and just breaking down some truth and trying to really focus on our personal development. But Kody's been someone that I've admired for a long time. This dude has a work ethic like nobody else. He is driven like nobody else, and I'm certain he's going to get everywhere he's trying to go, which is the highest ladder of success, but do it in such a graceful way, such a way where he pursues purpose and calling. So, Kody, it's an honor to have you on here, man. I'm grateful to be able to share this time with you.
What's going on, my brother? Yeah, thank you for having me, man. This has been a long time coming for sure to start to speak to the world, speak some truth, speak to the men, speak to the women, speak to all who are open to hearing. And I think next time we definitely have to get together in person. I definitely don't want to do another virtual one, but get some good vibes and some good energy together. Hey, maybe even in the mastermind, we'll group talk
Yeah.
on some time.
Well, we do a mastermind every Tuesday morning. We've got about 8 to 10 leaders that show up and just share life together, just encourage each other, push each other, inspire each other. Because you don't really get that too often in this day and age. It's like there's so much competition in this world where everyone's competing, everyone's trying to be more successful than the other person. And when you get a group of people together that are all trying to encourage the person next to them and give them ideas and brainstorm for them, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I was actually last night listening to the Airbnb founder and Jay Shetty podcast. It was incredible. But he was asking his doctor friend, what is the number one killer in America? Is it cancer? Is it heart disease? And he said, no, it's actually loneliness. And I think oftentimes in the growth journey and entrepreneurial journey, there are many times and moments of isolation that we can experience. And we think, man, nobody else in the world is going through what I'm going through right now. Nobody else feels what I feel right now. Nobody else is on this journey with me. It's just a dark road that I have to take alone, and that couldn't be further from the truth. We do live obviously in a virtual digital world, which unfortunately has led us to be more in isolation. But we want to let you know, and we're here today to tell you that you are not alone. We don't want other entrepreneurs and leaders and people of the world that are supposed to, be the guide, be the hope, and be the light to help solve our problems and move our human race and nations and economies forward. Those are the people that we definitely don't want to feel loneliness and experience that, because they should be more uplifted and driven and fulfilled than anybody to help fulfill others.
Well, I got a question for you right off the bat, because one thing about you that just blows me away is when it comes to sharing who you are in the virtual world. I mean, for years I've known you now, and I don't know if you've missed a single day where you haven't consistently posted like 87 stories a day sharing your journey. First of all, why do you do that? And second of all, how do you stay so consistent? Because I know for me personally, as someone who aspires to do the same thing, dude, there's days I feel good and I typically share in those days. And there's days where I just don't have the energy and I don't show up. Why do you do this? Why do you share so much of your life and everything you're learning, the goods and the bad? And how do you stay consistent?
Yeah, I think when we were little, we were resistant to brush our teeth every day. I know. I remember when I was little, I didn't want to brush my teeth every
I
day.
still am.
Yeah, if I'm up too late, I don't even want to get up off the couch, and brush my teeth sometimes at night. So
They'll be good till morning.
yeah, I think in the same fashion, there were many things growing up in our childhood or upbringing, or things that our parents or teachers or the role models and leaders of our life made us do no matter what. And then it just became second nature. It just became a thing you don't have to think about. Now you don't have to think about tying your shoes. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth, and among many other things. So I think for the same way, I forced myself into doing things for so long, whether I hated it, I didn't like it. There's still some days when I don't necessarily love social media and I want to get on and tell them everything. There are days when I don't want to tell people the bad. We oftentimes don't want to share that with the world. I think that's also one of the worst things that has happened with the internet and social media, is that we only do share the good and the wins. And so it's just this crazy, weird perception from other people. They see only wins. And when you pick up your phone and you're losing, or in a moment where you feel like you're losing, I don't really believe in losing necessarily unless you're giving up. But I think in those
Yes.
moments, people will pick up their phone and they only see winning, and they say, wow, I'm a loser because I'm not winning. And it just seems like every app everywhere people are winning, and that's because they only post their wins. And so for me, I just hope to be that light to people, that it's not all winning. There's failure, but failure is feedback. And I like to share that when I'm struggling. Even just yesterday, I definitely went through a struggle of having tough conversations and a transition and leaving partners and a business behind that did serve me well for a long time. And even though I'm in a good place and moving on to an even better place, those things can never really be easy. But back to consistency, I think just doing it no matter what, even when I don't want to, even when I'm sick, even when I'm tired, even when I feel like it's not convenient. I feel like people oftentimes do the growth part of their life and the personal development part of their life, and then the business part of their life, the intentional part, only when it is convenient and only when they feel good. And that is only teaching your brain the worst of habits. And that is that things need to be perfect for you to put the work in. Things have to be, you have to have perfect circumstances and unlimited time and unlimited energy for you to do the things necessary to move your life and your business forward. So I think when it comes to consistency, I just made myself do it for so long because I just knew that eventually people would enjoy it. I just knew that eventually people would start to see that this is good, that I'm putting out the good, the bad, the ugly, and every single day, no matter what. And I just thought that if I don't share the light, the hope, the positivity, the quote of the day, the message of the day, what I'm going through, most other people will never get that elsewhere. And so it has to be me. I knew from a young age it has to be me. I have to be the consistent one in a world of inconsistency.
Oof, mic drop. That was incredible. That was so well said, dude. It just sounds like so much of that is you've just built so much discipline and just doing what you don't want to do until eventually it just becomes something that's who you are. It's not something you necessarily have to do, which is certainly part of the process. But I think the more important question is why? Like, why do you do this?
I just know. I know we were talking about it before off camera a little bit, but it's hard for me to understand or hard for me to depict this and really communicate it well with an audience. I believe I'm getting better and I hope to do so, especially in front of the bigger audience we have in front of us in the future. But at a young age, I looked around and I knew at 8, 10, 12 years old, I already knew that God was calling me and pushing me and planting a seed in my mind, this little tiny seed, this little mustard seed, that you are supposed to do something different. You are the one that is supposed to change this family tree and the generation forever. You are the one, you are the generation to do it. And so and whether that's me telling myself or conscience or if it's God, if it's an angel or whatever that is, whatever you need to tell yourself that it is, for me, that's how I translate it, as God telling me that, planting that seed in me. But I knew at a young age, when I saw everyone around me being financially broken, spiritually broken, emotionally, physically broken in every way possible, even though there was love or attempt of love in my house growing up and in my family, people meant well, but that doesn't always mean that the results turn out to be well. But regardless, I just knew at that young age that I had to do different. I had to think different. I had to choose a different path, and that I had to be the one, because there just aren't a lot of people to count on in the world these days to do what they say they're going to do. And most people don't even believe they can do what they think they say they can or will do. So I just knew at a young age that I had to be the one to have a bigger purpose, to have a bigger life, and I had to lead people, and I had to create fishers of men. And even now, 10, 12, 14 years later, now as an adult in the entrepreneurial space and in the virtual world, I hope that I can be that for people, be the one, borrow my belief. I know that I had to be stronger for my siblings. I'm the oldest. I have, 5 siblings. They're all crazy and awesome, but I'm the oldest. And so I think that God knew I had to be the oldest to take on a natural role model figure for them and be the one and lead the charge. And so I just continued to keep that same mentality through growing up and into the workplace and into now business and my teams and obviously my intimate relationships.
Oh, you said a second ago, I'm hoping that I'm doing this. Well, I mean, dude, you're definitely doing it, bro. And I think that's evident for everybody. It's always a joy to watch everything that you share and everything you post, because I've been able to watch your growth throughout the journey. The person in the beginning, he was trying to build a discipline and he was trying to share a message, to the person that's not even trying anymore, the person that's just being and just acting in those ways that you've developed, bro. And it really is having a significant impact. And I think there's something as far as like being a speaker. I don't know if there's anything more impactful that you can do necessarily on planet Earth. I mean, you look at all of the greatest people that have ever existed, the people who have started serious movements
Mm-hmm.
that have changed the entire world. How did they do that? Look
Speak.
at Martin Luther King. Look
Yeah.
at Nelson Mandela. Right. Look at Winston Churchill. It was all through this gift of orating. So I think if you really want to change the world, it's getting comfortable being a speaker and leading by example.
Absolutely. Number one now, the new top of my list of skills that I hope to really grow, the muscle that I hope to grow next is really communication. I think that we live in a world that seems like we live in an illusion that there is so much great communication going on because of the internet, because of social media, but it seems under the underlying message is that we are lacking communication more than ever in our relationships and the workplace and everywhere else. And so I think for me, I really want to help be a better communicator. And you can see the people that are, like, as you said, the names, of course, that you mentioned. Our pastor is Stephen Furtick, I think one of the best communicators. We love Bishop T.D. Jakes, another iconic figure in the speaking space and leading space. And I hope to be a pinnacle leader. John Maxwell has the five stages of leaders, and I hope to be a pinnacle leader someday. And being a pinnacle leader means you have an incredible gift of communication that you've fine-tuned and worked on. So that's definitely top of my list to be an excellent communicator, because we all need that. We all need the voice of reason and the voice of clarity.
Well, dude, you already have tremendous skills. You're so articulate. You're so well spoken. You're doing phenomenal at it. Question for you: what do you think makes you mentioned Stephen Furtick, amazing speaker. You mentioned TD Jakes. Obviously, there's some people that both you and I truly cherish. People like Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins. These personal development leaders, titans, I would say. What do you think makes a powerful speaker, and what distinguishes some? Because there's so many people in this world that are speaking now. It's everywhere. You can open your
Yeah.
social media and you always have a reel of somebody else, right? But there's some people I can't even listen to, right? It's like, that's not for me. There's some people I am just drawn into, and then I will binge watch them. For you, what do you think makes that really powerful speaker?
I think one of the number one indicators for me when I'm from my perspective, how I can judge a speaker or get behind what they're saying and doing is that they believe what they're saying. So in other words, people don't need to believe that people don't need to believe exactly what you're saying. They don't need to get behind exactly what you're saying, but people need to believe that you believe what you're saying. And so I think there's a different conviction.
Can you say that again? That's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a good word for that is conviction, but people do not need to believe what you're saying. They need to believe that you believe what you are saying. And
That's
people
so
know
good.
and people know the difference. People know.
Hmm.
Your audience knows the difference. Just so you know, if you're listening here and you're posting, you're trying to be a speaker, a leader, an influencer to some extent in some area or niche, people know that if you believe what you're saying or you don't. I think consumer behavior is at an all-time high of awareness, and people know whether you believe what you're saying or not. So if you just are ripping off, some other speaker and Eric Thomas, and you're just regurgitating, people know. When you really have the conviction in your soul and your spirit, there's a reason why I get emotional when I just turn on a YouTube video or a TikTok of Bishop T.D. Jakes or his daughter Sarah Jakes, because they're speaking from pain, they're speaking from experience, they're speaking from their soul and their spirit, and their spirit and their energy is overflowing and spilling out of them and into every single room they speak in because of that conviction. So I think if you're a good speaker, then you have great conviction and great belief in yourself and in your own message. And we've seen enough speakers and enough gurus on the internet to know the difference.
I think the word is just authenticity. And
Yeah.
authenticity is something that can truly be felt. And I think that's what I was kind of referring to earlier. There's some people that you start listening to their stories or you see their posts and you almost want to cringe because you're
Hmm.
like, dude, take off the mask, brother. Like you're speaking straight through your ego. This is not even coming from your spirit. And that can be felt immediately because there's no heart impact. It doesn't like reach me to my core. But as you were just saying, when they believe what they're saying and it's coming from true experience because they can feel what they're saying and you can feel what they're saying through their feelings, it's truly authentic. And even if you're spewing BS,
Hmm.
as long as you truly believe in that BS and are living out that BS yourself, that's authentic.
Yeah. Look back at me from 3 years ago, 4 years ago when you knew me. I was a phony on social media. I didn't share all of the good, the bad, the ugly because I didn't know how powerful it was to share the struggle. Share the struggle. I only shared the strength, and people really only bond over, at least bond the most over strength and struggle. And so I was only showing strength, which was only half of a superpower because I was only showing people when good things happen and hey, my life's good and I'm grateful and I'm happy. But what I wasn't showing them was that I had to sell my truck, just to pay my rent. I wasn't showing them my eviction notices. Now I know. I wish could go back and actually show myself getting eviction notices and show myself not being able to afford clothes, barely being able to afford groceries. I wish I would have definitely recorded that and documented that more, because it would have been more authentic and spoken to more people than, hey, good morning, I'm happy, I'm grateful, and my day's doing good, and I'm making sales, and hope you are too. Have a good day. And so I
Mm.
wish I could go back and definitely change that, if I could change anything, to speak to more people and show them my authentic self from the get go. But if you continue on this journey, the journey will make you reveal yourself sooner or later.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're preaching to the choir now. You just can't go on forever without being authentic because
Hmm.
when you're not being authentic, and it eats you. And I
Hmm.
think that's the most challenging part. I mean, I can say the same thing, man. From the very beginning, there's times where I just feel like I was an absolute phony, where I'd only show this success and I'd only try to be this motivational guy, which I think was beneficial and that was true to who I was, but I wasn't showing the real side of me as well. And I always refer to it as like wearing this mask.
Hmm.
The world is really good, especially when it comes to social media, of putting on this facade of neatness, and we put on this mask and we showcase our highlight reel. But I do find it so fascinating how, and this is the current season I'm in right now, by the way, learning how to be myself
Hmm.
at all times. All right. Not just because if you meet me in person, I speak a certain way. I'll use certain language. I'll talk about certain things. But all of a sudden, when the camera comes on and social media comes on, I will filter those things and I'll like try to hide from the world who I truly am and try to put on this mask of perfection,
Yeah.
hopefully, so I don't receive that judgment. But it eats me inside, dude.
Hmm.
And so, what I think is so awesome is that I'll just take Snoop Dogg, for example. My mother's like, "Oh, I just love Snoop Dogg." And I'm like, it's because he does not give a flying you know what. Like,
Yeah.
he owns himself fully. He believes in himself. He doesn't care what you think, and he'll just be who he is at his authentic core. And we admire people like that so much, because I think that at the end of the day, all we truly want as human beings is to be who we truly are
Yeah.
ourselves. And we're so scared to do that.
Yeah, I have a lot of amazing quotes. I post my quotes every day and have a vault of them. But for this particular point in conversation, everybody knows Drake, and he's a wise man that said, "You can be anyone you want, even yourself." And I take that to heart, and I think that's a very real statement, a real quote, because so many people want to be so many things, but the coolest thing you can be, and the more that you become you, is the best thing. I think it's the best way to love yourself, to love God, to love people, to love humanity, is being your best authentic self. So yeah, I can definitely go along with that a lot. I have experienced so much of that, and I know that many people think that, oh, I'm just going to be my authentic self today. I'm just going to make that decision. I think that it is a season that you grow through. I think it's a muscle that you grow over time, just like a skill of sales, a skill of marketing, a skill of social media, a skill of communication and speaking. I think authenticity is its own skill and muscle to build over time itself,
Yep.
because you've been living in a false self for so long, for 20 years, because even by the time that you could walk and talk, your parents wanted you to be a certain way, and so you portrayed yourself as that false self
Yes.
for such a young age and for such a long time. You can't live in a false self for 25 years and then overnight just become an authentic self. So I think for me, it's been the past 3 or 4 years of really becoming who I am, who God wants me to be, and feeling more aligned in that. And the more I become, the more me, who I say I am, but my true self, the closer they get together, and the more that they begin to feel each other in the energy, and to build a synergy. The more that I feel that and experience that, the happier I am, the more joyful I am, the more I feel connected to God, the more the better partner I am in my relationship, the better partner I am in business, and among many things. So I think that that's one of the huge things that people are missing right now in the world, is that authenticity, muscle, and skill.
Which is I think all we truly want. Let me ask you a question. You said it took me about 5 years of becoming who I am. Do you think it's becoming who you are or unbecoming everything you're not?
Both, yeah. I would say, even the way you put it like that, maybe even more unbecoming,
Mhm.
unbecoming of these layers that must be shed and shed and shed, and it's a continual
What
shed.
are those layers?
I think it's our insecurities, or the status that we want to put out there, shedding status, shedding insecurities, shedding people, shedding energy, shedding spaces, among probably many others I could name.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we try to stay within the confines of who we were told we are. we try to stay within the confines of who we think we're supposed to be, but there's so many shackles in that. There's
There
no
is no
liberation in that.
There is no supposed to be. There is no should. You should be this way. You should be that. That there is no should. Most people that we are so affected and we are so hurt and we are literally like malleable clay models to whatever the world and whatever people think we should be or
Yes.
supposed to be. But there is no should. There is no supposed to be. Those people that we listen to, the voices that we listen to, we won't talk to them in 5 years, and they definitely won't be at our funeral, and they're sure as hell not speaking at our funerals. And so, why are we so concerned about what we should do, supposed to be? This is how I'm supposed to dress as a real estate agent. This is how I'm supposed to be in this area. This is how my relationship should be. This is what I should or should not share on social media. And this is the line. There is no line. There is no border. There is no clay model for you. It's just you. Discover you. Become you.
I and I actually think that this is the very thing that holds so many people back from actually ever achieving who they were born to be. Like, let's just even take our parents for example, and I know in some cultures this is such a powerful influence that you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, and so these people will spend their entire lives trying to fulfill the mold that their parents provided for them,
Mhm.
and they live in such unfulfillment and such unhappiness, and they have to go to this moment where at some point they have to rebel, and they have to like stand up for who they truly are and rebel against their parents, where there might be a lashing out or a fallout. But I heard the quote by Alex Hormozy the other day, and he said that sometimes your parents' dreams have to die in order for yours to live. Sometimes your parents' dreams have to die in order for yours to live. And I think you can even put that in even our own personality and how we're supposed to act and who we're supposed to be.
Mhm.
Like sometimes we have to let go of who we think we are to be who we truly are.
Yeah, absolutely. That unbecoming and unshedding. I saw that example a lot of shedding your parents' dreams. I learned it well enough in the High School Musical movies to apply it to my own life then, so I didn't have to lean on my parents' expectations or parents' dreams. And fortunately for me, I didn't have a whole lot of expectations set for me other than, hey, just go to whatever you do, just go to college. If you just get into a good school and a good college, then life will be all right. So I held on to that. Went to the number one public university in America. It turned out that the degrees and pieces of paper don't mean much nowadays, especially when it comes to sales and marketing and actually building a company. But regardless, I can definitely empathize and see that so many people try to shape their whole life, based on others, including their parents, and they think that that's love. And that, fortunately, parents think that's love as well. If kids abide by their rules and do what they think they should do with their lives because they think they're protecting them, they think that's safety. But unfortunately, it can be the complete opposite and create a toxic environment, toxic relationships. And I see that so often.
So this has been just amazing so far. I didn't even know where this conversation was going to go, but it's
Yeah.
fascinating how it's taken us into, um, who we are and really speaking our message and sharing our light with the world. I encountered this the other day, and I think we'll wrap this up because I want to get your opinion on this. I think being a speaker and stepping out to that journey is, as we know, one hell of a journey all in itself because it reveals you to yourself,
Hmm.
and that camera more than anything else will showcase and highlight your insecurities better than anything else will. It's so fascinating, especially in the beginning of the journey, is as soon as the camera gets put on you, you become extremely self-conscious.
Hmm.
And as you continue to take that journey, that starts to fade and fade and fade. And then there's new tiers of it, right? It's one thing to take a recording selfie of yourself, but then the next tier is like doing it in public with people around you.
Yep.
Right? A whole new level of like embarrassment. Then you have to get to that next level. Then the third level is somebody else recording you in public. So it's kind of fun how this journey goes. One of the things for me is trying to be like this positive example and role model is learning how to stay true to myself as well. And we kind of touched on it briefly of not being somebody outside of the camera and then being somebody totally different on the camera.
Hmm.
So, for me, trying to be a man who truly loves God and wants to live by biblical principles and really values that way of living, I always want to be someone that can almost be a vessel to help people connect themselves with God and get closer to their source so they can live a
Yeah.
happier and more fulfilling life. Right. But I'm not perfect. I have a lot of imperfections. I do stupid things. I do curse. Right. So I posted a post the other day, and in the caption, I was kind of really talking about God in the caption, and
Hmm.
things that subtly pointed to that. But at the very end, I referenced the meme last year, which I still think is the
Yeah.
most iconic meme, where the guy was doing the chart and he was saying basically, you
Yeah.
know, you got to fuck around to find out, right? The more you fuck around, the more you find out. I end up getting a text message later at in the evening from somebody who was totally smoked me and rebuked me, right? Like, you don't, how can you represent God and drop the F bomb? And I just put the first letter F, 3 stars, and a K, bro, right? And
Yeah.
so I got smoked for that, knowing that they're far from perfect as well. But to that's the kind of the criticism that you have to face is like, dang,
Mhm.
am I supposed to come out here and act all perfect and try to represent God? But if you saw me in closed doors, this is who I am,
Yeah.
right? So how do you navigate being who you truly are, represent something high in yourself, and kind of not, I don't even know the word, selling yourself out? Would that be what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I thought of a couple of things. I first want to say I honor you and lift you up and appreciate you for sharing that and being who you are and not someone that you're not. And also, this is a huge topic for me that I'm very, very passionate about. Francesca and all the people that are closest to me know how passionate I am about this topic, and that is the dogma of religion or Christianity or faith, whatever word you want to insert there. But in my personal opinion, just because my grandfather's a pastor, has been for 50 years, grew up in the church, I taught Sunday school, I broke down the chairs, I helped set up, every Sunday my whole life growing up, even Wednesday night. I told people growing up I had a drug problem growing up. I was drugged to church every Wednesday night and drugged to church all day on Sunday. So I've been there, and I noticed growing up that everybody was talking about God or heaven and beliefs and oh, someday we're going to go home, and someday we're going to go home, and we're just going to be good, I guess, good people. And I looked around and thought, man, everyone here is pretty much broke, depressed, miserable in one way or another. And I just thought, I mean, yes, we memorized our Bible verses, and yes, we said our prayers, but isn't there more? Shouldn't this great God, this great amazing God that created the heavens and the earth and the universe and millions and billions of stars, don't you think he wants more for our life than just to get by, than just to live paycheck to paycheck, than
Yeah.
just to live in a decent body that stays alive until we turn 65 and all of a sudden attract all these terminal illnesses? I just thought that there was more, and so for me, I've always been passionate and a little fiery around that topic, because I think for me, I'm sharing love. I try to just share love and faith and hope and light in every single thing that I do and every single person that I meet, even if it's someone trying to slam the door on me when I'm running into Starbucks. I don't care. Just trying to shed light and share hope and faith and love to every person that I meet. And so I just believe, in my personal belief, that I don't think God up there is too worried about me saying the word shit. I think he's probably more worried about people's hearts right now, how lonely people feel, how
Right.
depressed people are, how people are lost. They need hope. They need leadership. Our world needs leaders more than ever. And so, yes, we could go on and talk about a lot of different areas under that umbrella. But I think more than anything, for me, navigating myself and being my full authentic self, because yes, most of my family members would probably disagree with my lifestyle, with my mouth, with my business models, and where I'd like to go and my ambitions, because they don't seem they're not deemed as what my grandparents would deem as Christian, like to go be a billionaire and go help a lot of people. But people are missing the whole point of that, the platforms and being ourselves and being human. That is what is helping reach more people. Being
Right.
perfect, and being and trying to put on a perception of perfect, and that we live a life without sin, and that we live a life without failures. We live a life without anger and greed. We've all experienced some form of anger. We've all experienced some form of greed. We all experience terrible mistakes. We've All of us have wronged people. All of us have thrown shots and daggers at people that may have not deserved it, or we just shouldn't have reacted in that way. So we've all been there. So why should we act like that isn't real? Like we're not humans. We're not Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, and Father Joseph,
Yeah, you're right.
the
Right.
baby. So why should we act like that? So I could definitely speak on that, a lot of things. But I think for me, again, when I know in my heart where I align, I know where my soul and spirit is. I know that I feel closer to God than ever in my life. I do feel like that. Not every single second of every day, I might not feel the most holy and connected to God in some moments, but overall, on this growth journey, the more that I've become myself, whether that is no matter what words I say out of my mouth, or no matter what my hairstyle is, or what clothes I decide to wear, what I set my income goals or my business goals at, I know in my heart that I am a vessel. I know in my
Right.
heart and spirit, when I look in the mirror at night, I know that I tried today. I know I tried to help people out of the genuineness of my heart, and not because of a dollar or because of a status or anything that I could get in return. So I think that when you can really know in your heart, you know that you know that you know, and I said this to Francesca and people around me recently, I know that I know that I know that this is the right path for me. I know that I know that I know that this is the young man I'm supposed to be becoming every day. So I think that's between you and your God and
Right.
your inner child, your inner person that you look into when you look into, like you say, your eyes are the gateway. You say,
To
right,
the
gateway,
soul.
gateway to the
That's
soul.
right.
When you look into your own eyes, when you look into your own gateways of your soul, and you can say, I am who I say I am, and this is who God wants me to be, and I'm doing what the work that God wants me to do. When you can say that and believe that and know that you know that you know, for me, nothing else matters. And it seems when you have that
Dude,
confidence, when you
so
have that
good, dude.
voice, the right people start to follow, and the wrong people that weren't in it for you, but were in it for title, but were in it for something else, begin to fall off and begin to shed. And those are one of the many layers of shedding to become your authentic self, for sure.
That's again, as far as being a speaker and being a leader and sharing your light with the world, that's part of the process. And I think you have to come to that point where you, and I think Jordan Peterson has a quote where he says something along the lines of, don't look for the approval of anybody except for your own conscience. Right. So and
Mm,
that when you finally get to that point, which I'm getting very close to the fact where it's like, you know what, at the end of the day, only God can judge me. And if I can look at myself in a mirror and look at myself in the eyes and know that my heart is pure and my heart is right, then what they say doesn't matter. There's actually a verse in Galatians that actually, I think it's chapter 4, that spoke to me many years ago. I read it and got up in my mirror, and it says, am I now trying to win the favor of man, or am I trying to win the favor of God? Because if I was trying to win the
yeah,
favor of man, I wouldn't be a follower of God at all. And so it's a choice you eventually have to make. And I think to the point, and I think a lot of people struggle with this because many of us, being raised in America, we grew up in a church, and religion and Christianity are very far separated. They're very different, right? Religion, if you actually look back at what happened to Jesus, these
mm,
Pharisees and Sadducees, these teachers of the law, these very religious people, these are the people that murdered Jesus.
yeah,
Okay. So religion murdered Jesus.
yeah,
And a lot of that is still very intertwined in the church, right? Religion is this man searching for God, which is Christianity, and this faith and relationship with God is God searching for man. It's not about being perfect and following a law. It's not about perfection. It's about grace.
yeah,
Right. And so that, I think for me, that's been the biggest transition is, who am I doing this for? And knowing only God can judge me. Right. And I actually just share what I responded with him, and I kind of explained some of that religious thing. Cause when people make when they rebuke you like that, you got to be careful when you correct somebody, because if somebody's trying to do a noble thing, right, and they're trying to, let's say, bring light into this world, and you come and you bring some of that conviction or rebuke, you could scare that groundhog right back into his hole when he sees a shadow. Because I think that so many of us humans are just terrified of rejection and terrified of not being good enough. But I ended up sharing this with, I'll just read the text. It said, I understand that your heart and intentions for bringing this to my awareness was out of love. You can trust that I'm working towards the perfection of my faith, but I'm choosing to openly share my imperfections and transformation along the way. If I wait until I'm perfect, Jesus would never be preached out of my mouth at all.
so far, man, so far. I think that the Big J man, I think if he came back today and did the whole thing again today, I think
We
he
kill him all over again, bro.
would wreck a
I
lot.
will would kill him all over again, dude.
Yeah, we'd be hopping on a new arc. But I truly believe that there is so much miscommunication in the world, lack of communication, lack of leadership, lack of pointing towards the right light, the right hope, the right text, and the right message. So that goes right along with it, absolutely. And I think that most people's lives would be very, very different if they truly understand the perspective. And I think that in my opinion, what God really is and what this life really is and the purpose of it, and that is to struggle and to experience pain and to help others through that. And a lot of people ask about, God, oh, why does God let this happen? Why does God let that happen? Why does God let me go through this? Why did God let my tire blow out? Why did God let my husband leave me? I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. I think without struggle, there's no growth. God lets us struggle because we have to experience struggle. We have to experience pain to be able to grow. Without growth, there's really no point in this life, or else we might as well just sit there and
That's right.
poop in our diaper and not do anything with our lives.
It's contrast,
That's
yeah.
the case.
It's contrast, yeah. And so I hope that's a good word. I hope it encourages somebody. You can go look at all of Jesus' disciples, all of them. They're all messed up people, dude. I mean, he picked like the worst of the worst to become his disciples and have that transformation happen within them. But at the end of the day, God is love. And so I think that what we're doing here as speakers is to spread love, because
Yeah.
I'd say the majority of the rest of the world, you can just go turn on any news station. It's designed to do the exact opposite, to highlight the darkness, which is just irony, even saying that all on its own. Right. And religious people can be some of the most judgmental.
Hmm.
I saw a video that I ended up commenting on. I shouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole, but I saw a video of DJ Khaled, and in this like 30-second video, dude, he dropped a couple of F bombs, but he was just saying, God believed in me. God believed in me, right? And he was preaching God's name. And
Yeah.
I looked at the comments, and these people are coming in there just casting stones, like he
Hmm.
is false, he is of the devil. He's saying the word F, and I'm like, dude, this
Yeah.
dude in a 30-second video has said God's name more times than you have in your entire life on any social media platform.
Yep.
So even if he's saying whatever he's saying, God is still being preached all the while.
Yep. He's
Right.
actually one
So
of my favorite content creators, one of my favorite
he's
influencers
epic, dude.
today.
Yeah. So it's like that's that story when that lady was caught in the act of adultery, literally sleeping with her husband. These religious people came to Jesus, threw her on the floor, and was like, "Hey, the law says to kill her." Right? All these Pharisees and religious people, they're all holding stones. The law says to stone her to death. What do you say? And long story short, he looked at them all and was like, "All right, well, whichever of you are without sin, go ahead and throw the first stone."
Yeah,
And
just like in
they
Matthew,
all
I think that so much of
that's
the world today, we're all looking at each other and purposely going on Instagram, going on Facebook, going everywhere, and picking out everybody's speckles in their eyes, their little fig, their little
that's
stick,
right.
and little speckles in their eyes. We're trying to pick out and call them out on, and we have logs stuck in our eyes that we can't even see.
This is so beautiful, man. Just more love, more love, more love. Okay, well, that was pretty fire too. So I want to. We're already at 37 minutes here, man. I'm just grateful that this podcast went wherever it was designed to go. But I want to kind of move forward to some of the things that you have going on in your life now. I mean, your story is pretty tremendous. I just want to share everyone here that Cody's work ethic is, this dude run laps around me. You want to talk about tortoise in the hair? This dude makes me look like a 200-year-old handicapped tortoise with how productive he is in his day-to-day life. I met Kody. You were doing Isogenics, which is a affiliate marketing. You built that up, had a couple hundred people under you. I know you said you ended up nearly making about 4,000 a month, and then you started transitioning to real estate, doing some wholesaling, and then working on your personal development throughout all this journey. And as of this week, you're making one more huge transition to actually walk away from wholesaling, which, if just so everybody knows, I mean, Cody's doing $17,000-$20,000 months nearly consistently. To talk to me about the journey of getting into wholesaling, leaving Isogenics, and what you've learned throughout that process.
Yeah, I want to say too. So my first real introduction into a business or any type of like actual leadership role in business was in network marketing with my network marketing company. And we were talking about this earlier, but so many people have their one thing, their first thing. They're like, this is my first thing. It's my first idea. It's my first business. It's my first sales role. I'm going to have a sales team. I'm going to go into insurance sales or whatever the case is. People have their first thing and they want that first thing and expect that first thing to be their money thing. And I thought that was going to be for me too. I thought my financial freedom was going to be my first thing. I was good at it and money was coming. And I was like, man, I was still working my job. I worked in full time. I did corporate sales for the Walt Disney Company right after school, and I hated that. That's why I ended up going into sales and social media, trying to make money on social media. And so I thought that was going to be my thing to grant me financial freedom. And most people think the same. And you can't know that in the moment because you can't always connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect the dots looking backward. I think it's such a beautiful thing. I've tried to do that my whole life, of always being grateful for it in the moment, because I know I'm like, man, this sucks right now, or like I don't see it right now, but I know that God will reveal it to me later and unveil his secret plan that he had the whole time. I'm like, oh, you clever mother. He had it already done for me. But the thing with network marketing, going into that and realizing that, okay, this isn't going to be my big money thing, my financial freedom thing. And that's why I pivoted and end up, was led to meet real estate partners and build up a real estate company. But most people think that it's the money thing. But for me, I needed to go in that incubator. I needed to go in the initial phase. I call it like, I really say I just graduated like phase one, because you think that until you learn more and you realize you don't know nearly as much as you think and you're not nearly as good as you think you are. I thought I was good, and I thought that's why. And I think that I also had an ego problem to think that my first real business endeavor was going to be the one that knocks out of the park, because we see some special, unique people like a Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, these unique figures that are 1 in a trillion type people, and ventures that end up blowing up for them. Maybe it's their first go around. And so, yeah, you have a egotistical thing about ourselves when we don't know yet that we're going to blow up. Oh, I had one big week, I had one big month in sales or business. This is it. I might as well just book my ticket to paradise now. And so I definitely thought that, but luckily I got to transition into real estate because I saw, okay, financially, this is not going to be the thing for me long term. So that's when I thought, okay, real estate, right? Oh yeah, all of real estate,
Well, I'm gonna pause you real quick because you end up hitting nearly $4,000. You built hundreds of people. You put so much time, energy, and commitment into building this platform. What made you take that leap right to real estate and walk away from all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, probably averaging like making $2 an hour, working 16 hours a day and not seeing the financial benefit. I think that'll definitely give you a lot of motivation. And the problem was, and the good thing and bad thing was that so much of my life growing up, I never had money. I always had financial scarcity my whole life. By the time I was 16, 17, I never, took a dime pretty much from family members or anything and funded my way. And so I've always had that financial motivation. Now, obviously, I don't have as much of a financial motivation because my necessities and basics are taken care of course. But I think for me, I wanted to make that transition because one, I knew that I always wanted to be in real estate, but I didn't think I could be like a real estate investor, like a Grant Cardone, until I made my riches elsewhere. I thought, okay, I'm decent at the sales thing, I'm decent at the people thing, let me go into real estate because that is, most millionaires are in, real estate and it's more socially accepted. So I think because of the social acceptance and normality of the real estate industry that people can, respect for the most part, and also that I had a decent experience with sales and leading people, I figured it'd be a good bet for me to try to ride out.
Now I know a bit of your story. So when you hit that lowest month, when you were basically getting evicted, was that with Isogenics or was that when you were in the wholesaling, or
Yeah,
was that
no,
right after you quit?
as a network marketing, I think I just had was just grinding on it so much to make it work. And as much as people want to have belief and belief and belief in yourself, and there's so many quotes that are, along the lines of if you just don't give up, you'll never fail. You'll never fail if you never quit. And so I
Right.
think oftentimes it's not about quitting, but about pivoting. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to quit on the business. I have belief. I'm gonna stay strong. I'm like, hey brother, you've been doing that for 8 years and you haven't made any money yet. Maybe you can
Yes. Before we even go on there too, because I think that's a really crucial point to hit. Because people are sometimes they get trapped in the situation and they close their eyes to all these other doors and opportunities that can help them get where they're trying to go. But what you were saying is the belief system. Like you can believe that if you were to run as hard as you can and stay as committed as you can to chase a sunset running east, right?
Yeah,
You're going to never see the sunset
that was good.
until you learn that you have to run west. Right. Okay, so carry forward.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's very true. And so many people, and this was my problem, is that I identified as not a quitter. I never quit. I'm not a quitter. I've never quit on anything. I'm not quitting this thing. Like we're going like we're sinking or swimming. And unfortunately, I was sinking month after month. And so I finally gave up the identity that I'm a quitter to I'm a pivoter, and that this is what people do in business and in life is not quitting. Quitting would be to give up on my whole dream of growth and development and leading people and trying to build great businesses. And that would be quitting. But instead, I pivoted into something that I could leverage my current skills, but have a higher ticket price on the product and service that I was moving. And I took a bet that the higher ticket price and the higher, asset value of something like real estate compared to selling workout supplements, I took the bet on that I could try to leverage those skills into making bigger profits and having bigger income months, to get out of financial scarcity.
So your first month transitioning, and I actually have no idea what the numbers were. I mean, you shared something with me, but the first month you transitioned and went all in on wholesaling, what were like the results that you saw from that financially? First month.
Sucked. I didn't make any money until pretty zero commission, zero commission, zero commission. I think I might have had a month. It was like, like 5,000, like a, maybe a small deal or something.
What month was that?
Maybe my third or fourth. But I
Yeah.
think it
And
was,
by the way, just so everyone knows, when Kody was at that lowest point and he got the eviction notice, he actually had to sell his truck. Right. So this man went through the ringer. He's
oh
been
yeah,
at the very bottom, which contributes to who he is today. I think we missed over that good part.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've always just been willing to do whatever it takes, and I think for me, I was very lucky. And I want to make this clear. Make sure you're listening to this and looking in my eyes if you can see this. I want to make it very clear that I was lucky and fortunate that I did not have family members to help me out. I'm lucky and fortunate that I did not have somebody that I could just call and, hey, could you just cover my rent this month? I'm so lucky and fortunate that I didn't have anybody or anybody that I was just going to decide to borrow money from. I don't like borrowing money. I don't like, giving out money in some circumstances, of course. But I think in that moment, I was like, I will do whatever it takes. I always have. That's how I've gotten to this point. I said when I was 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, my first semester of college, I lived on my friend's floor on an air mattress, and all my stuff was in a Tupperware, those big Tupperware bins, like the big ones with the things over them. And so I was like, I've already been in worse. I've already, I'd slept in my truck before and been homeless, for a short period before. I was like, this is nothing. So I always try to weigh out, like, what is the worst case scenario here? What is the real worst case scenario? I was already with Francesca at that time, and wow, what a boyfriend. And getting eviction notices. I can't even pay for her Starbucks.
Ooh, that's tough.
And I'm
Yeah.
selling my truck just to pay for my rent so I don't get evicted, so I still have somewhere to sleep. And then, I said, oh, yeah, well, my girlfriend just let me borrow her car, and we can just share a car, right? And just have fun in there together. Maybe live in that Nissan Altima together. And yeah, crazy times. But I just knew I was willing to do whatever it takes. And I think most people do not really weigh out what is your actual worst case scenario. Like, literally, even if you get evicted, what is the worst actual case scenario? Like, worst case, like, you can still live. There's people I drive by. There's homeless men I drive by, been given $1 or $2 for years. And they're still there. They're still kicking. And so what is really a worst case scenario? Most people don't truly weigh that out, and they have such a fear. And we suffer so much more in our minds than we do in reality oftentimes in every way. And I still find myself catching myself. I have to keep that note in my head every day of I suffer so much more in my mind than I do in reality. And so when I can just weigh out the worst case scenarios and what the pain really is and what's really going to happen either way, yeah, I just had to do it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and yeah, sell my greatest asset was my old junker Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah, man.
That
And I
kept me.
know that probably hurt a lot. That was probably a humbling experience. But I also know that all of the greatest people that exist on our planet and the most successful people that are alive today or have been alive all went through such a similar story and have such a similar journey. And shout out to your girlfriend Francesca for being a real one in the
Yeah,
midst of your struggling season. I love how Alex Hormozy kind of gave that same proposition to his woman. What's his
mhm.
wife's name again?
Layla.
Layla, and was like, basically, you should leave me. Like,
Yep.
I'm going under. I might be living under a bridge. And what she said to him was super inspiring to hear myself. It was like,
Yeah.
whatever bridge you go to, I'm coming with you.
Yeah, I think
So
that yeah, I feel emotional for sure because I could do it alone. I could have done it all alone. I could do this journey alone, of course. But it is just definitely different when you do have an anchor with you, with someone. I don't think I'd ever really had anybody in my life that truly believed in me. I think people had believed in me up to that point. They believed in me for what they wanted me to do and what they wanted me to be. That's what they believed in me.
right,
My mother believed in me because of what she thought I was and what she wanted me to be. That's what she believed in. And I think for the first time in my life, I had a person in my life that truly believed in me for who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I think that is one of the most remarkable things in the entire world. And I don't know, looking back now, obviously I could have survived. I'd always survived up to that point, but definitely a different experience and a different, comfort and confidence you can move forward with when you, regardless of money, regardless of if you're homeless or if you're living in the Taj Mahal, when you have somebody next to you that can look you in the eyes and say, I don't care. I am with you no matter if we're living in the Nissan Altima or if we're living, in a penthouse. I'm with you. We are doing this together. We're going to grow. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get through this and we will thrive and prosper together. And that is something that is priceless.
I'm literally cracking up right now because, well, first of all, dude, the fact that you can get emotional, man, just shows how amazing your heart is, dude. I love you guys so much. I'm laughing because I love you guys and I hate you guys at the same time. I love you guys because you're so
We get that a
beautiful.
lot.
I hate you guys because you have set the bar so high for a relationship and how beautiful it can be if you put the work in, and you guys just exemplify true love. I mean, you guys are literally like 40% of the reason I broke up with my girlfriend like 8 months ago. Right? So that's part
Sorry,
of the reason I hate you
sorry,
and
not
love you at the
sorry.
same time. So you guys open my eyes to what a beautiful relationship really can be when there's commitment and you have a similar calling and mission, and continue to encourage each other and love each other from the bottom all the way to the top. Because I know when you do get to the top, because you went to the bottom, it's just going to be so much sweeter, dude.
Yeah, it feels like a cheat code. So I just hope that if you're listening today, if you can hear us, if you can feel us, I have chills on my arms just because I really think that this message can really help somebody. But just know how lucky you are, how fortunate you are that if you have the cheat code like me, leverage the cheat code. Don't use it as why not. Use it as your why. I just think that I took every reason as to why other people would say this is why I cannot, and I said this is why I can, and this is why I actually have a cheat code over all the country club kids that I grew up with or went to college with, and now seeing where they are, their drive versus mine, it's just totally different. And so I just want to encourage you today to leverage the cheat code of your unfortunate youth, as you see as unfortunate circumstances, can be the most fortunate circumstances of all to take you all the way.
Well said, dude. And so we'll fast forward here to the very ending. I want to pick right back up where we left off. So you said how many months was it until you saw that first like five
Oh,
thousand
wow.
dollar?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. No, we could talk for 3 hours. So my probably I think my third or fourth month, I made like 4 or 5 thousand. Enough to, hey, I can pay hey babe, I can pay my side of the rent this month. It's always a good sign from your partner. And then I think it was the fourth or fifth month. The next month after that was when I made 17,000 and change. And
So
I
you went from zero, 5,000, like
yeah
planted some seeds, harvest season, and the next month you saw $17,000
yeah I'd never made half that in a month of my life.
in a single month. How did that feel?
I
Like
never
getting
actually
that check handed to you.
yeah. And before
Bring me back to that moment, please. I just want to relive that experience with you when you put that check in your hand.
I really don't think that I'd ever made more than $4,000 in a month in my life. And so, yeah, that was pretty much the jump, was 4,000 to 17,000 to change that month. And that was April or May, 2022. And so not that, a year and a half ago, it was the first time I ever made money. And it was crazy. I think that at first I just wanted to not tell anybody. I'm like, I can't tell anybody. I got to avoid check. I'm like, I can't tell anybody. I gotta keep this on the low, dude. I can't have anybody ask me for money. I don't have money. I got too much stuff to pay off. Let me just live for a minute. Let me just have some
You
comfort.
won the lottery,
Let me
bro.
take my girl out to a real restaurant for once. She's tired of eating reduced fat turkey bacon sandwiches from Starbucks for dinner. So, yeah, I think that was amazing, and I think it just shows the true potential and what you can do when you don't give up, when you just keep going along the route. So many people give up right before they're 3 feet from acres of diamonds. That's what I always try to keep in my mind. Today, I'm 3 feet from acres of diamonds, and I have.
Mm.
There's a chest over here. We have our office over there. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks that I wrote over and over and over and over and over again, thousands of times. I wrote, I am happy and grateful. I earn $10,000 a month. I'm happy and grateful. I earn $10,000 a month. I'm happy and grateful. I earn $10,000 a month. There's so many notebooks that say that over and over and over again. People are like, oh, how did you overcome fear or doubt, or how do you keep going? And it's because I completely brainwashed myself into believing that I was already there and that I could already do it.
Come
I was
on.
already capable of it, and then it's already done. I just have to let time do what time does. Let time do its thing. So many people don't, but I want to encourage you today. If you are trying, if you're moving forward, if you're taking another step, if you're making another call, if you're doing another reel or you're doing another TikTok, even though all your other TikToks bombed, you are 3 feet from acres of diamonds.
Only takes one.
Just one.
Only takes one door, one
So that was
opportunity.
the first time in my life that physical reality belief had come to life, and I kind of rode off the coattails from there.
This is this is the rewards that you reap from all your personal development too, right? I think what we can just say here to everyone is mindset, 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 mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like staying positive, despite anything you're going through, any adversity you have. It's always stay positive. Always have the mindset that I am 3 feet from diamonds, acres of diamonds.
Yeah.
It'll get you through a lot.
Yeah.
I love the way I think Jim Rohn puts it. He goes, positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it'll let you do everything better than negative thinking will.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you're
And so,
trying, go
were
ahead.
those did those months become consistent? Like when you made 17, was it kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
consistently?
I mean, not always, but pretty much for the most part since then. And definitely this year as I've gotten a lot better and increased my capacity, increased my bandwidth, and increased what I could do in a single day. And that's the really really cool thing. It's honestly one of my coolest things for us that we experiment on ourselves with, is seeing what our bandwidth does. And we used to look back and say, oh well, a year ago I used to be able to do this, and I thought a year ago that this was a lot of work. But your personal development, your growth, and your bandwidth and your capacity can actually compound at the speed at which it can increase. That means that not just a year ago I was in this place, and man, I've grown so much in a year, and I've gotten so much better in a year. Now it's holy smokes, 3 months ago I was an idiot, and now 3 months later I have learned so much, and I have so much more bandwidth and capacity now compared to what I used to. So in real terms, an intangible example, that would be, when I had first started, right, to my first month making $17,000 in a month. For me, that was I could only handle 3 deals or 5 deals or transactions in real estate in a month. And last month I did 12 transactions, in real estate, and that felt more as normal as 3 to 5 transactions in a month. So I think it's a really cool thing, whether it's in fitness, whether it's in business or any other area, to actually in real time be able to look back and see your bandwidth and capacity and productivity increase. Is really amazing what we're capable of.
Dude, give me a 1-minute rundown. I know for me, one of the things, I know I have the ability to be such a phenomenal salesman, but I always run away from sales. Like, it's just something
Mhm.
that's just like, I don't like being that guy, right? Like
Yeah.
asking people for something, forcing my hand, trying to manipulate or persuade. That's a big factor of what gets people to become so wealthy. In a 1-minute pitch, how what would you give advice for sales, and what's made you so effective of that and overcoming that stigma?
Yeah, I think there's, to an extent, I believe that when you provide enough value and you have enough conviction and belief in your offer, in what you have for people, I think that there may not ever be a perfect scenario where there's never any type of resistance or any type of feeling where you are trying to, quote unquote, make a sale. But I do believe that if you have the confidence, conviction, and belief that you have so much value, that what you are doing, what you are offering in your product and your service and your offer is far more valuable and could never even be close to what they're actually going to pay you, when you know that your value is far over that price tag, I don't think there's nearly as much resistance and scarcity and worry around that sale. Obviously, there's skills, there's persuasion, there's being a better question asker. You're a great question asker, so that's why you'll always be successful in caring about people, of course. But I think when you really just care for humanity, when you know that you are doing good, when you know that your product and service can really help people's lives in some way, shape, or form, and you have added immense value to them, and you will continue to serve them to the best of your ability, I think there's less incongruence between your mind, your body, and your heart when it comes to sales.
That's really, really, really good. So just having an absolute certainty that the value you bring is far more than what you are asking for them in return, which is
Absolutely.
just an exchange of energy. Because I know there's a lot of people, probably entrepreneurs that listen to this. I remember getting into the coaching industry, right? Not having really any skills and asking somebody for $500 to work with me for like 6 months. I was terrified because I didn't know if the value I would bring them would be worth that money.
Hmm.
But then as I see the results and see how much their life changed and the breakthroughs they have, I'm like, oh, dude, 500 is nothing. Raise it to 1,000, then raise it to 2,000, raise it to whatever 5,000, and you're like, dude. Sometimes I'll tell people, I'm like, dude, you're getting it at a good time because you come back in a year, this is going to be 10x, bro.
Yeah.
Because I know the value I bring, so it doesn't feel like I'm taking anything from you. I know that I'm trying to give you everything, and it's worth 100x. So that's really good, man. I appreciate that advice.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think so many people struggle with being able to, ask for a sale or not be that business person. I think also it's inevitable if you really want to be successful. The greatest salesmen, the greatest pastors in the world are the greatest salesmen. Some of the best advice I've ever been given is to build your business like a church. And what happens when you for a church, you get a free sample, you come on in, you get a free trial, you come on in and test it out. You hear testimonials, just like you would if you're
Right.
just like you would if you're a loan officer. You tell people, oh, testimonials, right? Josh was so great at helping me with my mortgage and my product and loan or whatever. And so you get testimonials when you come into church. People get baptized in front of you. People are stoked and raising their
Right.
hands.
Taste and see that it is good. Taste and
And
see
guess
that it
what?
is
They
good.
give you a call to action to fill out the form and come back for more. And it's the
Well,
same.
it seems like because we just crossed over the hour mark here, we are gonna have to come back and do another podcast here in the future, man. Because
Absolutely.
like with what you were talking about earlier, with the whole bandwidth thing and how you've been able to start to multiply your productivity. I first of all, I got to figure out what kind of veggies you're eating, bro, because your skin is always vibrant, your eyes are always lit up, you've got
Indeed.
crazy energy. I don't know how you sustain this day after day, show up on social media. So you're doing something right, bro. You're tuned and tapped into something. So I'm going to need to hear a little bit more about that secret sauce in a future episode. But I'd like to take this last 2-minute episode because a lot of people are going to think you're an absolute lunatic to be at a point in your life where you went from broke and to making 17 $20,000 months and being in the best financial position of your life to yesterday coming out on social media and say I am walking away from real estate and fully stepping in to a new journey. You want to just take 2 minutes to kind of explain what this journey is?
Yeah, I think truly when you do have a certain a certain amount of income and a certain amount of money in the bank to allow you to sleep at night, to allow you to wake up and not think about the lack of money in your bank account. Unfortunately, the people with the least amount of money, oftentimes think about the money the most. And I even find myself today, I thought about money far more when I had none, than now when I just have my expenses paid for and have a more comfortable life, can go on the date nights, can go on vacation and book a hotel or a concert, without having to stress. And
I
that's
got a quick pause you there.
uh,
Did something shift energetic? Like, obviously, that's a huge stress when you don't have the
yes,
money. Like, dude, it is on your mind 24/7, and you're just forcing your hand. You're trying to make something happen. There's something that really is a huge weight on your shoulders.
yeah.
Was there a massive energetic shift inside of you when you finally had that money? Was there something changed? Was your energy? Was your sense of well being? Did you lose some depression? Like, what did something shift there?
Absolutely. I mean, I think no matter what, when you don't have the basics covered, when when you experience scarcity around the resources the necessary things that we need as humans, have a nice place to lay your head down at night, a clean place, healthy food, not McDonald's or whatever you can get from Aldi or something. I think when you cover the basic needs and you have a good income that's quote unquote comfortable, what people would consider the middle class, that's a whole nother thing. I don't really believe in the middle class term that much. But when you consider yourself, a comfortable lifestyle or comfortable income where you can, cover those necessities, I think there's a huge shift. I think that you definitely get out of scarcity. I think it got me to this. There's this resistance level. Resistance level. You look at like a stock on a thing. You're
Right.
bouncing up and down. You're trying. And I think once you get to that certain level of income and financial status, then you reach that new resistance level of, okay, I'm not going to go below this again. And so I now got rid of that scarcity. I shedded that old identity officially. That was my official. I shedded the belief and identity of myself that I am financially insecure and I'm a broke kid. So I think that definitely happened. But now moving forward, I
Did it
make
give you more confidence, just as like
absolutely.
a man?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that there is a biological, to an extent, a biological factor when it comes to providing. You
You're
can
right.
ask, Francesca and the people around me. I'm very adamant about being a provider. And now, obviously, we will not have the traditional nuclear, American home. Both being strong dual incomes and all. But I'm very adamant about being a provider and caring for those that I love, and even beyond, my spouse or even my own future children, but my own siblings and their children. And I have all my grandparents still. And so there's just a lot of people to care for. And I take that to heart. And I do think there's a biological aspect to men. And it's a whole other aspect. We can go into the mask of masculinity as well. And
Right.
Lewis household concept. I do believe there's definitely a confidence that you can provide for yourself and, help provide for those that you love the most. But to pivot into where I am now, I'm finally in a place, and that's what I said on my story yesterday. But the reason why I did real estate, and like I said before, is because I got pretty good at sales. I was good enough with people to make this happen, and I knew at a higher ticket price with real estate, I could probably make more of an income. It turned out to be true when I took that bet, and now I'm in a place where I don't have to do it for money. I don't have to stress myself out for money. I don't have to grind 12 hours a day for money, and I think that's another beautiful place, and that's kind of where I'm calling this the graduation of my phase one, the graduation of level one. I believe there's like 1,000 levels to life, and each one is challenging and has throws curveballs at you and has twists and turns, just in different ways than maybe the last level did, or like in Super Mario World or something, just climbing up different levels in this game of life and journey. But I think where I'm now is because I did something before. I was good at real estate. I was good with people, and it made pretty good money, but I didn't love it. I didn't love the whole thing. My heart and spirit hasn't been fully in it, but I convinced my heart and spirit to get along with it so that I could get to the next level and have true belief in myself to get to an income level.
So good, dude.
Now I have a certain amount of skills. I'm confident enough, and I feel this poise in my soul and spirit enough, in my skills and who I am, that I can create value on my own in any industry that we decide to go into. And now I don't have to do something out of scarcity for money, but I get to do it because I love it. And I feel that when I'm working in my ikigai, like my happy place, my flow state, and in a business model that I fully agree with and built out myself and ourselves, that I can really impact more people because it's coming from a deeper, better heart space versus doing something so that I can collect some commission, look cool on Instagram, and go to Greece. So when it's just for such more purpose, now it's not working for money, but it's working for purpose. It is working for really starting to set up these pillars of our life mission as they begin to evolve, and these layers and these levels of the financial income and status allow you to begin to work more in purpose rather than for money. And I want to say too, a short note as well, people are really, really stuck in the beginning on passion, passion, passion. My passion is I want to save Africa. My passion is I want to help, women that are 35 across America with their, I don't know, helping them with their hormone, whatever your thing is. That might be your passion, but right now it may not be the money, it may not be the fuel. You need fuel in that car. And what's
Yes.
amazing that if the car is your passion, the car needs fuel, the car needs an oil change, the car needs a carburetor, the car needs a lot of things. So I think people are really stuck on the passion thing, but you do need finances in this world. We live in a world where it's pay to play. Jim Rohn says, "Oh, I don't make up the rules. Go make your own world.
Yeah, yeah.
If
When
you
you
want
get
to
your
work,
own planet, yeah.
you get your own planet. You got to take that up with God. We live in a
Yep.
currency based world where it's pay to play." And so I think many people are stuck on their passion, passion, passion so much, but they need to do things and maybe get good at something you hate, maybe get good at something you don't like, even if it is sales. To an extent, you're serving people well. I know I've served a lot of people well in sales and in real estate, but it's not my purpose. It's not my life mission to really stay there in my career. And now I get to freestyle, and now I get to do so many different things and be a creative. I believe we're all creatives. God is a creative. Look at the dude that created the heavens and the earth and the galaxies and Saturn's
That's right.
rings. You think we don't have a little sliver of that capability and that
Man
creativity?
in his man. Yes. Yeah, bro. And I guess I'll give everyone a 30-second, sneak peek into your new journey, and that is actually creating and being the founder with your girlfriend Francesca of Bella Beauty, which is a beauty company that's combined with affiliate marketing, if I'm correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a company that's not based on physical products. I think the world is so focused on, especially when it comes to skincare and health. We're so focused on Hey, bro, what pre-workout are you using? Women are so focused on what serum are you putting, on your face to save your face, but we don't focus so much on the internal. Even when you go to the doctor, you go to the dermatologist, you go to your general practitioner. They're not asking you, hey, what kind of stress you're dealing with at home? How many arguments do you get in with your spouse weekly? And so those things, how we live, our lifestyle, obviously we put into our body, and on top of that, our relationships, all are cause and effect. We live in a cause and effect world, and those are all causes to acne, diseases, illnesses, among many things. So I think we really want to build a company that's based on uh, helping people from the inside out, helping them take a look in. And so many women today are so obviously fixed on beauty, but they're fixed on the external rather than the internal. So yeah,
That's
I
good.
think that I'll figure out how to speak to men, and break through their mask of masculinity eventually with the business and the company. And that's why we have obviously our other business as well. We'll be putting on the conferences to be able to attract more men as well in a masculine way, but also
Right.
teach them to go deep inside.
I'm excited for that sneak peek because I do want to have you back here in, let's say, the next 90 to 120 days to really hear about the beginning journey of this business, and but also bring you back for everything that we've already discussed that we don't have time to do. But as far as the skincare goes, bro, I mean, you look like you eat a spoonful of vibranium from Black Panther, a little spoonful out of the sun, because you're always glowing and glistening, bro. So you're gonna have to put me on so I don't grow old.
Right back at you, bro. I've always thought the same. It's the juicer, man. We got the juicer. So, if Francesca says, hey, if this doesn't kill you, it might just make you stronger. It might just make you healthier. It might just
That's
make
right.
you radiate a little bit more.
Well, Kody, I just want to say you're such a good man, dude. I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of you, and
Appreciate you,
I'm just
bro.
grateful. I'm grateful. I almost get emotional at how grateful I am for God that He is blessing you in the way He is, because you have such a good message, dude, and your heart is so big and so pure to do amazing things. And as I've told you for a long time now, I have no doubt that you will be amongst the most successful people that have ever walked our planet. I have no doubt about that. You are already a phenomenal speaker, and your time is coming. So just keep doing what you're doing. Um, and this is your moment, bro.
Yeah.
This is your moment. That's what the podcast is all about. And sincerely, this is your moment. So if people want to find you and want to be able to get all your daily wisdom and your devotionals, everything you share with the world, where can they find you?
Yeah. Obviously search anywhere but Kody, Cody with a K. I like to confuse everybody. My family is all K's like the Kardashians, but we weren't as rich, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, anywhere on social media, obviously Kody Thompson, Kody Thompson underscore. We don't have a podcast as cool as this yet. We definitely will someday when we build out a studio and have a lot of fun down there, and we'll have you on. But yeah, thank you so much, brother, for being here. Thank you so much for being a light in my life. Thank you for being a fellow warrior and a fellow troop on this journey. If you're listening to this, you need to find people. You need to find your people, whether it's virtual like us. Reach out to people like us. I love people. I will answer your questions or help people to the best of my ability. I'm not skilled in every area, but skilled decently in a couple that I'd love to help with and just be a light. So please, follow us. Follow Francesca. If you follow me, you probably follow her too. And of course, Colton. So yeah, thank you for being a brother. I call it brother in arms, but a brother along this crazy thing. You need those people that are going to push you, and you need to be able to look to your left and look to your right and say, let's do this. We're going into war, but we're going into war together. So thank you, brother.
Dude, it's an honor. I would say that if anyone here, I don't know, primarily ladies, but if you are looking for an opportunity to start another business in affiliate marketing, I would try to jump on board with Bella Beauty and see what they've got going on over there. Something
Absolutely.
really beautiful from the ground floor.
And I almost forgot, Colton is actually speaking at our conference next year. So really excited. We will be very honored to be able to hear from Colton next year in Fort Lauderdale. That's May 2024. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that. I'm sure we'll get some marketing.
You know what the beautiful thing is that hasn't been released yet, and I don't think there's very few people that are going to
We'll,
make it to the
we'll
end of
talk-
this episode. So Francesca, before she drop kicks you on the camera right now, but yeah, everyone, I hope you got just incredible value from listening to this. I mean, I know I did, Kody. You inspired me with a lot of the things you said. Actually, the questions I gave to you are questions that I'm currently dealing with in my own life, and I gained a lot of value for that. So if you did enjoy this episode, please give it a like. I don't know how the whole Spotify podcast thing, but rate it, share it with a friend, give it a like. Kody will be back on soon. If you are looking for some coaching, some one-on-one life coaching and mindset coaching, come to my Instagram, shoot me a DM. I'd love to serve you and reach
He's
out
the
to you as well.
coach.
So yes. But hey, it was an honor having you, brother. Everyone, this is your moment. I hope this provides us your momentum. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Kody,
That'd be great. God bless. Thank
peace.
you, brother.